Hey guys, Malachite here, coming at you with the second video, ages upon ages late, in the Totem animal series. I'm actually making this video because I saw a toad last night, and I have never seen a toad here. We live by a river in the entire time that we've lived here, and seeing a toad at the time I did was very poignant, and so I wanted to look up the information anyway, and I thought, well, why don't I do a totem animal thing on toads, and he was so cute. I thought I'd give you a little bit of just really short scientific information on toads. Toads are actually frogs, even though they're pretty different, but scientifically they're in the same family, so they are actually frogs. Even though frogs live in water their entire lives, and toads can live on land, like frogs have to be in water. You'll see them sitting on a rock, but they're in water. Toads can live on land, like this toad was on the sidewalk. They can burrow in dirt. They don't have to be near a body of water at all times like a frog. Let's see. They're really harmless. People think that they can really hurt you and that they're super poisonous. You just want to leave them alone. They're harmless, they don't hurt anyone, and they're actually beneficial. They eat some poisonous animals, like smaller things that would live in your yard. They live in dark dens. They bury themselves in a hole for the winter. That's why you don't see them very often, because they're really shy and they tend to hide. Now they do look warty, but you cannot get a wart from a toad. The little wart-looking things on their back are actually a defense mechanism that secretes like a thick white secretion. Now that secretion is poisonous, but it smells absolutely disgusting. And the smell is what is intended to ward off any kind of predator, and it works. Can the venom hurt like a dog or a cat? Yes, it can. It can irritate our skin, it can irritate our eyes, it would make us very sick, but the smell is so bad. I have never in my life heard of a dog or a cat dying from a toad. They don't eat them, they don't pick them up because they stink. So they leave. It's like a skunk. They're out of there. They also puff up their bodies to look bigger and more menacing. They run away, and they actually burrow quickly. They're more likely to puff up their bodies, like the secretions will start, but they'll puff up as well, and they'll run away quickly before an animal has any time to mess with them. They'll stink and they just run away. So they're harmless. Just leave them in your yard. They do a lot of good. I know they have so many negative connotations. Those are left over from the witch hunting days, when they actually connected them with Satan. Just like black cats still have negative connotations, those are left over from the witch hunting days. Toads are harmless. They were believed in the witch hunting days to be servants of Satan. They used to paint them with horns, and that's why they're in so many stories that have to do with witchcraft and magic and things like that, like Harry Potter, where there are cats, toads, and owls that they can bring to school because they are associated with witchcraft. Toads were destroyed at any possible given chance in the Middle Ages because they were believed to have to do with witches, and you can look up, there's a ton of information on what they believed toads could do. Absolutely ridiculous. One of the things I read in toad teachings. This is from a book called Animal Messengers by Scott Alexander King. Is despite its external ugliness, on a spiritual level, the toad within itself has a release from its self-loathing, which I really, really liked. Now, the toad as a totem can be a good omen, like it crossed my path, or if it crosses your path, things like that. You might have a successful time of drawing upon and using your inner resources, like a change or metamorphosis is taking place. You might be leaping to a new path. It's also, toads are associated with money and luck, especially in changing your luck from good to bad. So it's a little different from a black cat, which is bad luck. The toad is actually good luck. People with toad as a totem can also see things and people more clearly. So if a toad were to suddenly become your totem animal, you might be able to suddenly see things a little bit more clearly than you did. Just saying. Let's see. The toad can herald a need for examination of your life as well, which would go along with being able to see things more clearly. So you might want to look at some things in your life, like, are you missing opportunities? Are you allowing fear to hinder progress? Are you forgetting your own inner strength? They can represent the moon, so they represent both life and death. The darker representations of the toad do come from the Dark Ages, but a darker representation is not necessarily a bad thing, and we know that now. One of the cool things is amphibians in general, like toads, salamanders, frogs, they live in two worlds, water and earth. So they actually bridge the gap between, how did it go? Between like the animal spirit worlds, between spirit and earth, basically, if I'm remembering how it was described correctly. It's, according to folk beliefs, it's actually good luck to have a toad living outside of your house. So if you have shrubs or bushes or really thick things like that outside your home, you might have a toad living in there, especially if you have sprinklers or something like that. So that's good luck. Just leave them there and let them do their toad thing. And let's see, we already talked about them being linked to darkness and the devil and all that nonsense. And that's pretty much it about the toad. A few other keywords I found were freedom, long life, knowledge and insight, and strength of character. So the toad is actually a pretty good totem animal to have. It's not the prettiest totem animal. You know, it's not like a hawk or a leopard or something like that, which, you know, some people like to get the prettier totem animals, but I will certainly take a toad any day, if that is indeed what happened, because he was adorable, and I don't even know how I saw that toad, because all I saw was a slight movement, invisible on the concrete, just absolutely invisible. Big old guy too, so cute. I love toads. And what is so strange is when I was little, I was terrified of frogs and toads, absolutely terrified. And when I became a nanny, the little boy loved frogs, and so I couldn't act afraid of frogs or toads around him because I didn't want to instill that fear into him, because I loved how much he loved wildlife, and it was very important to me that I didn't instill a fear of any wildlife into them, because I got my fear of a lot of wildlife from my mother, being so afraid of everything. So I started being able to hold frogs. I held small toads. I did always make him wash his hands after holding a toad, and again, that is because of the secretions, because they can be very irritating if you get them on your face, because again, it is venom. So if you pick up a toad and hold a toad, and they do secrete some of the secretions, they're not trying to kill you. Just, you're not going to get a wart. Just, go wash your hands and everything. I think you can get pet toads as well, and have them in little terrariums, and just don't put them in something like this, please. If you get a pet toad, please don't do that. Make sure they've got lots of space. Do your research on how to take care of them, please, please, please. If you're going to have a pet frog or a pet toad, please do your research so they're not miserable. Yeah, so that is the toad as a totem animal. So if any of you have the toad as a totem animal and you have more information than I do, I would love to hear it down in the comments, or if you've had experiences with toads, I'd love to hear it. I think they're really awesome and magnificent creatures. They really are amazing. So yeah, I love all animals, so I would love to hear any stories that you have about toads or frogs, because they are in the same family. So but especially toads, because that's what we're talking about, is toads. So yeah, just put them down in the comments there, or you can, even if you have a video response about toads, let me know. And yeah, I'm excited to hear. So anyway, many blessings, guys, and take care. Bye.